In the silence between the trees, a voice rises, ancient, echoing, unmistakable, a howl rolling across mountains, valleys, and time itself. This is the Wolf, Canis lupus, hunter of the north, builder of bonds, and keeper of wild order. Feared and worshipped in equal measure, wolves have shaped ecosystems and imaginations for thousands of years, but who are they really? In this film, we follow the path of the Wolf, across snowbound peaks, endless tundra, and silent forests to reveal how they live, love, fight, and lead. This is a story not just of survival, but of connection, of loyalty, of legend. This is the Wolf, the spirit of the wild. The Wolf is not the biggest predator, nor the strongest, but it is among the most enduring and the most efficient. A master of stamina, structure, and stealth, the gray Wolfie Canis lupus is nature's perfect long-distance hunter. Wolves are built for movement. Their long, narrow bodies are supported by lean, muscular legs. With each stride, they glide silently across the land, capable of covering over 30 miles a day, sometimes more, in search of food or territory. Their paws, large and snow-resistant, function like natural snowshoes. Each toe is spread wide, giving grip across ice, gravel, forest floor, or tundra. The middle two toes bear most of the pressure, reducing fatigue across long distances. Beneath the surface, their lungs and hearts are built for endurance. Wolves don't chase in bursts like lions, they pursue with relentless persistence, outlasting prey through terrain and time. Wolves live and die by their senses. Their sense of smell is legendary, able to detect prey over a mile away and track subtle scent trails across complex landscapes. This isn't just for hunting, it's for communication, too. Scent marking defines territory, signals hierarchy, and bonds the pack. Their hearing is finely tuned to high-frequency sounds, the rustle of a hair in the brush, the footfall of a distant elk. And their eyesight, while not eagle-sharp, excels in low-light conditions, helping them thrive during twilight hours, the perfect time for stealth and strategy. A Wolf's jaw delivers around 400 pounds per square inch of pressure, strong enough to crush bone and tear through thick hide. Unlike domestic dogs, wolves have a more robust skull and longer canines, built for shearing meat and breaking down entire carcasses, from skin to marrow. Nothing is wasted. Wolves consume flesh, organs, bones, and fur, leaving behind only the most inedible remnants. This efficiency helps sustain them in ecosystems where kills are few and famine is frequent. While often referred to as a single species, gray wolves vary widely by region. In Alaska and the Yukon, massive wolves with dark coats roam the tundra, preying on moose and caribou. In the forests of the Pacific Northwest, smaller, darker wolves blend among trees and shadow. In deserts and arid plains, wolves are lighter, leaner, and more opportunistic. In India and Iran, the Indian Wolfcha subspecies is smaller and paler, adapted to heat and scrublands. And in Ethiopia, the Ethiopian Wolf, a distant cousin, hunts rodents alone in alpine meadows. Wherever they exist, wolves adapt. They are generalists by necessity, able to hunt in packs or alone, feast or fast, migrate or stand ground. But the Wolf's greatest strength isn't in its jaws or legs. It's in its unity. Wolves are pack animals. Family units, teams, everything, from the hunt to the howl, is done with purpose, coordination, and code. This code will be revealed in time, but first we must understand where they live and how their presence shapes the land itself. Wolves once ruled across nearly the entire northern hemisphere. From the forests of Japan to the tundras of Canada, from the highlands of Ethiopia to the deserts of Iran, Canis lupus was one of the most widespread land mammals on Earth, and in many ways. They still are. Wolves are survivors. They endure cold, heat, scarcity, and persecution and adapt to nearly every environment they touch. In Alaska, Canada, and Siberia, wolves roam thousands of square miles across boreal forest, alpine peaks, and frozen plains. These wolves form some of the largest packs and hunt massive prey, moose, caribou, musk oxen, often traveling great distances between kills. Snow doesn't slow them, it helps them track, isolate, and exhaust prey that's heavy and less agile. Here, they are true wilderness royalty, ghosts over snow, whose howls bounce from mountain to sky. In the continental United States, wolves were nearly exterminated in the 20th century. But in recent decades, thanks to reintroduction programs, they've returned to Yellowstone, the Great Lakes, and the Pacific Northwest. These wolves tend to live in smaller packs, hunting elk, deer, and small mammals. They navigate dense pine forests, rocky ridges, and grassy clearings. One of the greatest rewilding successes occurred in Yellowstone National Park. In 1995, wolves were reintroduced to Yellowstone after being absent for 70 years. The effects were astonishing, with wolves present. Elk, once overpopulated, moved more cautiously and grazed less in sensitive areas. This allowed willow and aspen trees to regrow. Beavers returned, building dams, songbirds nested, riverbanks stabilized. Entire ecosystems reshaped, all because of the presence of the wolf. This is called a trophic cascade, a chain reaction of restoration driven by a top predator. It showed the world that wolves don't just take life, they give it back. Wolves in arid regions like the Middle East and Central Asia are smaller and lighter with thinner coats. They travel farther between water sources and are more opportunistic in diet, scavenging as much as hunting. They prey on hares, goats, rodents, and the occasional young antelope. In India and Pakistan, the Indian wolf survives on the edge of extinction, navigating scrubland and crop fields, often clashing with local herders. In Europe, wolves are making a quiet comeback. From the Carpathians to the Pyrenees, from Italy to Scandinavia, wolves are reclaiming ancestral ground. They follow deer and boar and are even spotted near cities, slipping through farmland and forest margins at night. These wolves adapt to human-dominated landscapes, moving mostly under the cover of darkness. Their return is hailed by conservationists and feared by farmers. The challenge: coexistence. Wherever they roam, wolves serve a vital function. They help control prey populations, preventing overgrazing and disease spread. They call the weak, the sick, the old, keeping prey species genetically strong. They indirectly shape plant life, waterways, bird populations, insect webs, and even the movements of other predators like coyotes and bears. Remove the wolf and ecosystems unravel. Keep the wolf and the forest breeds. Wolves and humans have shared landscapes for millennia, and with that, a complicated relationship. They've been hunted, vilified, and demonized in myth and folklore, feared as killers of livestock, children, and peace. But they've also been revered as symbols of wilderness, freedom, and loyalty. And somewhere in that contradiction lies the truth: wolves are neither monsters nor saints. They are what they've always been: predators, providers, pack-bound survivors. And their wild presence speaks of a world untamed. The strength of the wolf is the pack, and the strength of the pack is the wolf. This ancient proverb rings true not only in story but in science, because at the heart of every wolf's life, from how they hunt, travel, raise young, to how they survive, lies one extraordinary force: family. Much has been misunderstood about wolves. Popular culture speaks of alpha males dominating others through aggression. But in the wild, a wolf pack isn't a battle for dominance, it's a family. Typically, a pack is made up of a mated pair, the breeding male and female, and their offspring from 1 or more years. Sometimes a sibling or cousin joins, but rarely more than 8 to 12 individuals total. The so-called alpha wolves, they're simply mom and dad guiding, protecting, and teaching their young. Their leadership is firm but fair. They discipline, yes, but also nurture, feed, and sacrifice. Each pack maintains a territory, often between 50 to 500 square miles, depending on habitat and prey availability. They patrol these lands regularly, marking boundaries with urine, scents, and howls to deter rivals. Howling is both declaration and bonding ritual. It synchronizes the group and signals unity. Wolves may howl in chorus, harmonizing in eerie symphonies that carry for miles. To hear a pack howl is to hear a family speak. Wolves hunt cooperatively, relying on roles, cues, and experience. They communicate with subtle glances, tail positions, and body shifts, coordinating without words. Larger prey like elk, bison, or moose require strategic ambush, flank, and isolate methods. Wolves test herds, look for weakness, and launch with precision. Each member has a role, some distract, others chase. The elders teach, the young observe, and when the kill is made, it is shared, though not always equally. Pups and breeding females often eat first, followed by others in order of age and need. It's not a rule of dominance, it's a rule of care. Mating season begins in late winter, usually February. Only the lead pair mates, preventing overpopulation and resource strain. After a gestation of around 63 days, the female digs or finds a den, under roots, in caves, or hillside burrows. There, she gives birth to 4 to 6 pups, blind, deaf, and helpless. For the next few weeks, she rarely leaves their side. The rest of the pack hunts and brings food, regurgitating meat for her, and later the pups. At 3 weeks, pups emerge from the den. At 5 weeks, they begin to explore and play, building muscles, practicing pounces, and learning social cues. Play isn't just fun, it's training for adult life. Pups wrestle, chase, mimic howls, and test boundaries. Older siblings, often yearlings, act as babysitters, guiding play, correcting behavior, and sounding alarm. The pack protects the pups fiercely. Even during food shortages, the young are fed first. By 3 months, pups begin to follow the adults on short forays. By 6 months, they can keep up with longer travel. At 8 to 10 months, they begin to join in hunts, learning not just how to kill, but when. At around 1.5 to 2 years old, many young wolves leave the pack. Some disperse alone, some travel in sibling pairs. They search for new territory, for a mate, for the chance to start a pack of their own. This is the most dangerous chapter in a wolf's life. Many die before finding a new home due to starvation, conflict, or accidents. But those who succeed carry the legacy forward. Wolves can live up to 6 to 8 years in the wild, sometimes longer. Their loyalty, once formed, often lasts a lifetime. Wolves are not just instinct-driven. They bond deeply, grieve visibly, and celebrate reunion. Pack members greet each other with affection, nuzzles, face licks, tail wags. They comfort the injured, protect the sick, and search for the missing. When a pack member dies, the loss is felt. Some wolves retreat in silence. Others howl, not to call, but to mourn. These aren't just predators. They are families, bound by more than survival. Bound by trust. The wolf has walked beside us for thousands of years, sometimes as a companion, more often as a shadow. It has fed our fears, fueled our folklore, and framed our battles between wild and tame. But for the wolf, this story has come at a cost. Because no predator in history has been so relentlessly hunted, not for meat, not for protection, but for being. For centuries, wolves were cast as monsters in myth and policy. In medieval Europe, they were blamed for famine, disease, and sin. They were burned, speared, poisoned, crucified, and eradicated. In North America, as settlers moved west, wolves were seen as threats to cattle and commerce. Entire campaigns were launched to exterminate them, with bounties paid for ears, tails, and pelts. By the early 20th century, wolves were wiped out from most of Western Europe and the lower 48 United States, and yet they endured. Today, wolves face new and familiar dangers. Habitat loss remains a leading cause of decline. As forests are logged, roads built, and towns expand, wolf territories shrink, pushing them into contact with humans and livestock. Poaching continues even in protected regions. Some wolves are killed in anger, others for trophies or fear. And legal hunting policies, especially in parts of North America and Eastern Europe, have reopened old wounds. And legal hunting policies, especially in parts of North America and Eastern Europe, have reopened old wounds. Livestock conflict also fuels ongoing tension. Though wolves rarely attack without opportunity, a single sheep or calf kill can spark brutal retaliation, sometimes wiping out entire packs. But the greatest threat? Misunderstanding. Fairy tales taught us to fear the wolf. From Little Red Riding Hood to the Three Little Pigs, wolves were cast as cunning, cruel, insatiable. Even when humans invaded their lands, it was the wolf who was the villain. In reality, wolves avoid people. They do not hunt humans. Documented attacks are vanishingly rare, especially compared to those from domestic dogs or even deer. And yet, the fear persists. It is a fear of the untamed. A fear of the things we cannot control, and so we destroy them. But the wild cannot be fully domesticated, nor should it be. Around the world, efforts to protect wolves are growing. In the U.S., national parks and reserves offer safe zones where packs can breed, hunt, and teach their young. Organizations collaborate with ranchers to use non-lethal deterrents, guard dogs, flattery, and better fencing to reduce livestock losses. In Europe, reintroduction efforts are helping wolves return to historic territories, even as far west as Germany, Belgium, and France. In India, Iran, and Mongolia, small wolf populations cling to life in open scrubland, protected by local reverence or desperate tolerance. Education plays a vital role. When communities understand wolves, their value, habits, and risks, fear gives way to respect. Because the wolf isn't just a predator, it is a keystone species, shaping ecosystems with every step. Its presence tells us that the forest still breathes, that nature still balances itself. To save the wolf is to save the idea of wilderness. It is to accept that not all voices in the night must be silenced, that not every shadow is a threat. The wolf teaches us loyalty, perseverance, adaptation, but above all, connection. To each other, to the land, to our past and future. If we let them vanish, we lose more than a species, we lose a symbol of freedom itself. Listen, far beyond the edge of towns and trails, a sound carries on the wind. A howl, rising like mist from pine and stone, ancient, enduring, wild. It is the voice of the wolf, a voice nearly silenced but never broken. A voice that still echoes in the bones of mountains and in the pulse of the forest. The wolf does not ask for dominance, only space, not conquest. Only freedom, not fear, but respect. We are not the first to walk this land, and we must not be the last to leave it alive. So long as wolves still run, the wild is not lost. Let the howl remind us that something fierce, something free, still calls this earth home.